wanted to play with British postcode data this week. The plan was I'd go onto one of my favourite stores' websites, go to the store locator, extract all of the addresses of all of the stores, and then from those addresses I'd get out the postcode, and then from those postcodes I'd figure out what county it was in, and then I would do something that I thought was funny using those postcodes and using which county they were in, except it wasn't that simple. Sure, some parts of this project were relatively straightforward. I managed to extract all of the addresses from the website with very little issue. Over 2,000 addresses in England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland, by the way. And then I put all of these addresses into a text document where I could extract the postcodes. Now, postcodes fall into a few different standard formats, with a few notable exceptions that I won't go into here. But then you can extract them using regular expressions. And so that's what I did. Granted, the data I was using wasn't perfect, so there were a few extra spaces here and there, but nothing you can't fix just using regular expressions. Now came the bit that I thought would be easy, figuring out which county each postcode is in, because each postcode can only be in one county. It identifies such a specific bit of geography that only identifies maybe a street or maybe even a large building. So I figured it can't be too hard to programmatically figure out which county a postcode is in. I was wrong. I would have been right if I were talking about American addresses. Every single 5-digit zip code starts with a 2 or 3-digit prefix, which tells you exactly which state you're in. For example, North Dakota, every single zip code begins with the digits 5, 8. And in California, which has over 50 times the population of North Dakota, and therefore needs a lot more zip codes to fit everyone in, they have blocked out all of the zip codes starting with 900 all the way up to 961, just for California, so you can tell you're in California if you're in that range. Even the American unincorporated territories use this system, except for American Samoa, which is small enough to only need one zip code, and so it just has that one zip code, 96799. Now, back over to this side of the Atlantic. British postcodes do have prefixes. There's 124 of them to be exact, but they relate to cities and significant towns, not to counties. So let's get into an example that shows off this county boundary, postcode boundary weirdness. We'll use the city of Norwich in Norfolk as our example, partly because it's my favourite British city, and partly because it was the city where modern British postcodes were first trialled in 1959 before being rolled out to the rest of the country in the 60s and 70s. This is the postcode for Norwich Mail Centre. NR is the prefix for Norwich, and the 1 tells you that it's in the district of the Norwich city centre. As for the 1AA, this seems to be a relatively common way of denoting a post centre or a mail sorting centre, although there are notable exceptions. For example, the postcode SW1A, 1AA, is the postcode of Buckingham Palace. Now, let's say that you, like me, are a Norfolkite and you want to go for a day trip somewhere else in Norfolk. So let's say you want fish and chips from Starvin' Marvin's on the beach in Cromer. This has a postcode of NR27 9AR. After you've had your chips nicked by a seagull, you've quite understandably had enough of the North Norfolk coast and want to go somewhere else. So you go over to your sat-nav and type in what sounds like another nice normal Norfolk postcode, NR32 5DZ. So you drive all the way over. It's quite a long drive, but a lot of drives in Norfolk are. And so you pull up outside, and you're outside Pleasurewood Hills, which is a theme park on the East Coast. You stand up, you get out, and then you realise something isn't quite right. You're in Suffolk, and as a Norfolkite, I am contractually obligated to tell you that Suffolk is the worst county and you should never go there. You're so disgusted by being in Suffolk that you drive straight home without even going on the Cannonball Express. And as you pull into your driveway, you get out relaxed in the knowledge that you're safely back in Norfolk, in your town of Swaffham, which has a PE postcode. PE stands for Peterborough, not for Norwich. This is a very long-winded way of saying that postcode boundaries and county boundaries do not line up in the UK. The clue's in the name. Postcodes were designed for posting physical letters and parcels across a country in a 24-hour time span. It makes sense that they're not based in historical or ceremonial counties. They're based on the best way to send post. Don't get me wrong, this does make things a bit frustrating for programmers who have to deal with postcode data, but this is not a system designed for us, and if it means that I have to write a few extra lines of code to make my silly ideas work with British geography, then I guess that's what I'll have to do. This has a postcode of NR279AR. Yes!